It's Monday. Welcome to the show, Your View on TVC. I am Tokwe Mark Adige, and with me, as usual, are the beautiful ladies. Okay, so three of us have the similarity in colors. So you're like wine, this is red, I'm red, and Nima still within the warm color tone. How you doing? It's been a while. You haven't been around for a while. How you doing? What's going on?
I've been everywhere. I'm loving your hair. I'm loving your, as in like, what's going on today? Yes, I'm fine. Been up and about everywhere for work, and I'm still enjoying my mama, my mother's love. So it's this sweetie me. At least we've not quarreled for a week, so that's okay. We've not quarreled for a week that I've not been around. So, but she's loving up on me. That's a good thing. Nima, she's missing you.
I'm missing her. I can't wait to meet her personally.
And how are you, my love?
I'm fine. I'm grateful to God. Today is Congratulations Day. So my big brother and friend is sorry. Okay, I've seen your message. I'm going to do it. You have scattered my head. So the IGP, that's the Inspector General of Police, has appointed DC Ahmed Latif, who is my big brother, as the new Principal Staff Officer. So he was moved to Abuja. Prior to this, he was the DCP, the Panti DCP, and was also, he served as Police Operations FPU Coordinator for the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia. He was PA to the former IGP Abubakar, and you know, he's just been everywhere. He was also lead cybercrime investigator with the EFCC, and he attended several courses. This person is an outstanding, upright police officer, and I'm proud to say congratulations. And I'm very proud of him. Congratulations, and I hope he's watching. It was also my bestie's birthday on Friday. Nancy, what's her son? Nancy Opia now. So happy birthday, bestie. I know you have swelled up in in Bonny Island. You know the funny thing? I saw my notification when it was 14th in the morning, and I said I'll call her later. Do you know that?
And then you did not remember.
I came back from dinner at the deputy governor's house. I remember that I just kept quiet because I didn't want to get that now what for you kind of conversation. So I said I will do it on TV, and I hope when she watches we'll settle like that. You know, happy birthday, darling.
Okay. So of course, as you notice, we have some really nice cups right in front of us.
Very beautiful.
And it's courtesy Merch and Co brand. Thank you for upgrading our table. This is really cute. I love it. It's so me. I like it. But my weekend.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you didn't ask me, but
please tell us your weekend.
So my weekend, I told you on Friday, I went for the Empowered Summit, which was organized and hosted by the SA to the President on Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy. It was such a fantastic event. Like, I love to see when creatives are gathered together. We had talks from different people, you know, across the industry, you know, financial, and people that we see like leaders in the industry, you know, who are doing well, and they also give us tips and advice. I really love being there.
If my schedule wasn't crazy, I wanted to say I'll join you by myself. I did not get the invitation.
Yeah, I wanted to know what? While I was there, I was like, no, this is such a for every one of us. Even I got the invitation quite late. You know, it would have been nice for all of us to have been there. I'm sure next year, you know, we'll all represent. I hope. It's not as if I'm the one giving out the invitations. But then on Saturday, I went for a friend, Tonya Faligi. She's been on our show before. She's the one who has a daughter with Down syndrome. But she had an art exhibition and also a launch of her foundation. Her daughter is 9 years old, living with Down syndrome, but she's doing amazing. She had her art work, you know, and you know, people are bidding for it. They're trying to raise funds. It's it's such an amazing story, you know, how she had her child and she's become such a strong advocate for Down syndrome, and now she's going to be talking at the United Nations because of her advocacy. So I'm telling you, women are just, mothers are extraordinary human beings. So that's what I did for the weekend. And I'm gushing over your hair. Like, when we take the break that we're going to take between now and this show, I'm going to try and see if I can simulate this packing that she has, because it looks so beautiful. So Debbie did it. It's really beautiful. It's just giving. My weekend, I went to Ibadan, Ogbomoso, back to Lagos, and I'm traveling this evening. So like, I am like everywhere. I just feel like I should just take a deep breath, because I just seem to be doing a lot of things at the same time. But Agbaki of
I've forgotten the name of the area in Ogbomoso that they gave him Agbakin, but Pekun turned 50 on Saturday, and everybody was there. All the Obas, even the Shawm of Ogbomoso was present to celebrate him. I had to just go from Lagos to Ogbomoso on Saturday. I think so, but it's just a very, very amazing person. He came for my mother-in-law's burial in Benin. I'm like, there's nothing that will stop me from being in Ogbomoso to celebrate his 50th. You only clock 50 once. We got to make this happen, and I'm so grateful to God. The road to Ogbomoso was good. Thank you. Federal government, state government, everybody that walked on the road was everybody that walked on the road. It was a smooth journey to and fro. So, well, we'll take a break. When we return, I'll be looking a bit more gege. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we're starting our front page review with The Nation major headline. Lamido, El Rufai driven by emotions. And that is like the only story that we have. They've taken over the papers with, I think it's an advertorial. But we have stories within the papers that we can take.
Okay. So I'm starting with the River State, of course. The major headline online was that Fubara lawmaker standoff lingers. The story, of course, is just giving us brief of how the lawmakers are denying any correspondence from the executive on the March 19th proposed date for the representation of the budget. According to the Commissioner for Information, River State, he insisted that the governor had sent a letter, and he is insistent also that the House of Assembly cannot deny any correspondence from them. And so we know that this proposed budget presentation is one of the issues that the Supreme Court remanded or reprimanded the House of Assembly for, and so the governor is trying as much as possible to do this. There's a group of women in Rivers State who have decided to beg the warring parties. They said they are the Rivers women under the prayer group. They did a prayer group for peace, and they urged the governor as well as the FCC minister to close ranks and resolve this their logjam, because parties in Rivers State believe that the House of Assembly they are puppets of the FCT minister, and that the governor is being backed by certain strong powers also in Rivers State. So of course there are warring parties, and the elephants don't they make ants suffer, the grass suffer, but I'm of the opinion that proper democracy should play out here. You know, they've gone to court, which they should have, and they've gotten a court judgment. They should not now make it impossible to enforce that judgment.
Yes.
They've given their terms, even if they don't have a proper assembly point because he burnt it down. Let's move past it. You can give that as part of your new terms to finish it within a year. Money day for Rivers.
Let's go into governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the federal government has been given approval for the construction of a modular refinery in Abia State. I love everything happening in Abia State. The growth process, everything happening. Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Otis said the modular refinery will be built by HIS Refinery and Petrochemical Company Limited. He spoke during the flag-off of the construction of an 11.1 kilometer road in Owaza. And he said that the refinery will be sited at the Abia Industrial and Innovative Park in Owaza, Okwa, West Local Government area of the state. He said, you know, he loves the fact that after the road completion, that it will boost the marketability and viability of Abia Industrial Innovative Park. Yes, and that they're not just doing the road for doing sake or for, you know, people to just for it to be motorable, but in essence, they are creating access to the towns and villages, and they are also reviving dormant economic assets, opening new horizons, and reigniting the dreams that once stirred the souls of their fathers. I'm happy for Abia State. I'm happy for everything the governor is really doing. He's really trying with the electricity thing, trying to bring back, because when they have electricity, they have the modular refinery, you know, to really help Abia State in terms of their revenues and activities.
Yes. Right. Yes, I have Lamido. El-Rufai is driven by emotion. So the former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, as we know, last week he defected from APC to SDP. And while he defected, he also asked that the opposition leaders, they come together and join the party. He says that, but then we have Alhaji Sule Lamido, who is saying that we should not fight the president because we are angry with him or to seek revenge. Leadership should be about prioritizing the country's well-being rather than personal emotions. He also said El-Rufai's call for senior opposition figures to join him in SDP to fight President Tinubu in 2027. He says that, how do you expect us to leave the PDP to join, you know, another party? This is the same party that had made you. You know, it's just a compilation of different people and their response to El-Rufai's call to join the SDP. They said Kaduna traders also rallied support for the president. They said at the weekend, members of the Market Association and women groups in Kaduna Metropolis staged a peaceful demonstration against him. They said their loyalty, they reiterated their loyalty and support to the president and also to Governor Ubasani. And, you know, so on and so forth. So if you read the paper, it's just different people who are responding to his defection from APC to SDP.
All right, so we're moving on to the Punch major headline. How subsidy removal tension worsened Niger's fuel scarcity. Fuel marketers decry closure of stations at border towns. Citizens demand more Nigerian goods. Ashake ready to buy me house, says father. Baby mama alleges neglect. Minimum wage poor. Labor leaders betrayed workers. That's from Obasanjo. 59 killed, 155 hospitalized in Macedonia nightclub fire. And then governors lobby Tinubu to block LG direct payments. That's the local government direct payments. We'll take a break now. When we come back from the break, we will continue with the front page review. Stay with us. Be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
A great Nigerian place to work.
you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 220 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show, you for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, #1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for #1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym to get fat.
Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
Yeah, pole dancer does not
You're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No. Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too. Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You see some spoils.
That woman.
Bam! Bam! Yeah,
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's get talk now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. TVC Entertainment for Pure Entertainment.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my...
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we're reviewing the front pages of the papers and we're currently looking at the Punch. Who has the major headline? The house subsidy removal has worsened. Okay, somebody else. Ashake, what's happening with Ashake?
It's me that have Ashake.
Aha.
So Fatai Odunsi, the father of top Nigerian singer Ahmed Ololade, popularly known as Ashake, has said that his son has agreed to buy him a house and settle his medical bills and take care of his daughter. So apparently this news had broken out over the past
weekend
week that Ashake has abandoned his sick dad who fell ill and is having a stroke on his side, some parts of his body, and he had also abandoned an 11-year-old daughter. So the baby mama had also spoken about how she was supportive before he became a Nigerian, before he became the Ashake brand, and how when he was in Ife, how she had to do her business and support him,
You didn't need to come on
and how he promised you know, but Stokwe, when I read through this story and I watch all the videos that were happening, it just shows a person who got carried away. Yeah, so he's known as lonely at the top crooner. He was only lonely at the top because he had strangers. You know, yes, family members can be, he didn't take them along.
It's not a hot topic, so we cannot debate it.
No, it's not a topic, I'm just reporting it.
So
the father had talked about him, had come out and cried on some of the blogs.
And now they say they are giving
So he has reached out. So the father was like, his mom should have reminded him of his condition. And he's known to have taken care of him. And then the baby mama story is also telling that the family is requesting, you know, this is a family matter that could have been handled if they had access and he was responsive. You know, be public matter.
All right.
State governors have launched a fresh push against planned disbursement of federal allocation to local government council in a renewed bid to delay the implementation of the Supreme Court verdict on LG autonomy. So they said some governors during a meeting with the president at the State House last Tuesday have kicked against the payment of local government allocation through the Central Bank of Nigeria. So according to the paper, this is from someone who, you know, reported anonymously, said that first of all, you know, they had on Monday, the governors came for iftar. They sought to meet the president, which on Tuesday they finally met him, and then they sat down with him and they asked, you know, and they were talking about this federal allocations to the local government. They said that it's supposed to be done, according to government, it's supposed to be done through the central bank, and then the local government councils are supposed to open accounts, you know. But the governors don't like that. They said that as far as they are concerned, this is still like the federal government having direct, like they're still controlling, controlling it. So it's from federal government to local government, that they would prefer that the allocations be sent to commercial banks, and that there are also issues of billions of nairas being owed, you know, by the local government council, all those sort of these things. Anyway, it just seems the governors are not comfortable with this arrangement yet, and because of that, this policy has been delayed 9 months since you know the Supreme Court gave the go-ahead for financial autonomy for the local government council. They still haven't been able to do it. We heard here they said that the National Union of Local Government Employees have asked the CBN they've cautioned them against aiding governors in obstructing financial autonomy, that the bank had refused to open accounts for some councils due to alleged non-compliance with auditing requirements. So they are feeling that CBN is somehow in collaboration or in, you know, with the governors and finding different ways to stall the implementation of this policy. Then we have Association of Local Government of Nigeria said that they received no formal communication from the Apex Bank regarding opening of accounts. Anyway, as of today, still there is no financial autonomy for the local government. They have not received any funds into any accounts.
Wow. Anyways, no fear that this is a sad one. No fear that 59 people have been confirmed dead and more than 155 injured in a devastating nightclub fire in North Macedonia. They said the performance was happening on the stage by a popular hip hop duo DNK. And while they were performing, fire just erupted on the stage, and that the ceiling is flammable, and everything just happened immediately. And they had over 500, estimate of 500 people at the club, and unfortunately they just have one exit and one single exit and entrance. So there was stampede, people trying to go out. That was really terrible. So now they're just saying us just 59 people, but you know,
fatality of 59.
Yes, and counting.
Oh my God,
that is so unfortunate.
That's sad.
Yes,
that really, really
and that
sad.
some of them are under 18. Yes, so sad. Like, they are so rest in peace.
Amen. So I have the major headline about the impact of fuel. This is not a funny story, but apparently Nigeria has been illegally supplying Niger over 50% of the petrol they've been consuming right from time. And when they said subsidy,
so finally we're getting details.
When they said subsidy was gone, the impact hit them. But they were still finding ways to smuggle. Then the borders, that's customs, now created this Operation Whirlwind, where they shut down all the filling stations that were around the borders. And now there is fuel scarcity, like almost complete fuel scarcity within Niger and many other border countries. But Niger is actually really bad. And they said it is because they have not been able to get fuel from Nigeria the way they usually get it. And the government has now officially told them that if they want to get fuel from Nigeria, they should do it through official import means, like import from Nigeria officially, not the one where people just illegally move petrol into their country. It also has impacted there are other things that based on custom, this operation Whirlwind has shut down the illegal movement of goods across from Nigeria to Niger. And they said Niger citizens are now asking for Nigerian products that they are used to getting but they can't get. All of this became really worse because of the current administration and the impact of the subsidy being gone. So it's good to take the story like this, because when we talk about it before, they always feel like, what's the fact backing it up? But when our subsidy being gone has led to scarcity of fuel in a country that did not have scarcity of fuel before, and has led to hike in price in Benin and Togo, where they don't usually have, they were not paying high price. Because we were complaining that fuel was cheaper in Benin and Togo than Nigeria. But now when we know what is happening. Yes. Everything is now showing up. So moving on to
another working reform.
Another working reform. Feels a bit tough, but we're seeing the result. Nigerian Tribune major headline: SDP Sule Lamido tackles El Rufai. If PDP is struggling today, it is still the party that nurtured El Rufai. If he claims PDP is dead, then he must remember it is the party that gave him the political foundation. Whatever he has achieved today, PDP made it possible. In other news, NDLEA intercepts cocaine, opioid shipments in prayer bids others. Wow. Resurgence of diphtheria. Why is there public health concerns in Nigeria? Causes transmission is a fully detailed story. To get that, you have to read the paper. Police inspector kills self in Ogun.
Oh my goodness.
Kabir Akombi is Supreme Court Chief Registrar. Pressure to impeach Plateau Speaker thickens. You have that story,
No, I don't.
Or PENCOM simplifies payment of retirement benefits. In other news, federal government must stop threatening Nigerians for criticizing government. That's from Amnesty International. Ex-SGF, ex-minister among other promoters of coalition to challenge APC. And government abducts businessman, wife, others in Ondo. Ransom demand is 20 million naira. So, what story are we taking first?
So, desperate bids by some drug trafficking organizations to move illicit consignments such as cocaine, tramadol, loud molly, and others concealed in prayer bids, packs of board games, female cloths to the United States of America, Saudi Arabia, Italy, Poland, United Arab Emirates through logistics firms and Lagos Airport have been thwarted by NDLEA. So this whole report is just different. So I'll just take maybe like a couple because of time. So they said that some of the aborted missions, and a few of them have been arrested. One of them, a 43-year-old businesswoman, Jackpo, surname withheld. She was nabbed at Gate C departure of the Hall of Lagos Airport while attempting to board Air France March 8th. She was searched 190 parcels of tramadol, 225 milligrams, and another parcel of skunk, a strain of cannabis recovered from her luggage. She said she bought it herself and her intention was to resell, in Italy. A 60-year-old suspect, Yahaya, as well, attempting to ship a cargo containing cloths used to conceal 400 grams of skunk, going to New York, United States, and so many others, from those within, from Nigeria going outside the country, from those within Nigeria going to different parts of the country. There are just so many, and
thankfully, they search our luggage. I'm always wondering why they still searching luggages. But like when I read the papers, I'm like, okay, they should continue searching, because that's all we can take on front page review for today. When we return, we go into our hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Sometimes great things are worth waiting for. And for those who crave and wait, the experience is truly memorable. Introducing the new Dano Evaporated Milk. A creamy, tasty, nourishing place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and for my jam results.
By 280 or 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show here for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get getting fat. Cricket.
She says she does show dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too. Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I will not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You scissors. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Yeah, today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's get talk now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. Entertainment with Pure Entertainment.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
All right. Thanks for staying with us and welcome back to the show. On today's show, we want to revisit the infamous invasion of the headquarters of Ikeja Electric Distribution Company by armed personnel of the Nigerian Air Force over disconnection of power due to 4 billion naira debt, as Eko Disco Distribution Company is alleging the invasion of its Badagry office by men of the Nigerian Army. We have with us in the studio MD and CEO of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. He is also the spokesman of all the discos. Welcome with us to the show, Otuba Sunday Oduto.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before we go into the incidents of the Ikeja electric challenges, tell us exactly what happened at the Eko Electric, Badagry office, and what are your thoughts on this? We'd like to be.
Thank you very much. The incident of Ikeja happened on the 6th of March. But on the 14th of March, and before the 14th of March, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, they were doing an upgrade. They've been doing upgrades all over the country, in Lagos State, in the Badagry area, specifically in Agbara Industrial Estate. They were doing an upgrade, and they told us. Then we notified all our customers about load shedding, that there will be limited supply of electricity while the upgrade was on. And in the case of Nigerian Army, 15 Field Engineers Regiment, Topo Badagry, we informed their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel S. Lawan, and we did all of this in writing. So everybody knew there was an upgrade, everybody knew there would not be enough supply. Not that there was no supply at all, but there was not enough supply. While that was going on the 14th of March, at exactly 1 a.m. in the middle of the night, men of Nigerian Army from that 15 Field Engineers Regiment, Topo, went to the Eko Disco injection substation in Badagry. That injection substation is the place from where we switch lights on and off. We receive light from TCN and send it to our customers. There they met 2 of our staff, the DSO, which is the person in charge of distribution there, and a security man. Then they started beating them up for no reason. They abducted them in the middle of the night, took them to their barracks, inflicted injuries on them.
Wow.
And funny enough, after beating them, after doing all of that, they then bundled them to their Land Rover again, brought them back to their office, dumped them there, and then left. That was when we got the news. Now, my fear is that once nothing has been done to Air Vice Marshal A.K. Ademulegun of Ikeja Air Force Base, and the base commander is the gentleman called Air Commodore Umar. Air Commodore Umar, personally, the base commander at Ikeja, personally supervised the torture and beating of our staff, our drivers that they took to their base, 16 of them. The reason why we know it was him was because on the same day that they invaded Ikeja Electric, they came back in the evening on a so-called peace mission to assess the damages caused by their men. And when they came, led by Air Vice Marshal A.K. Ademulegun, the drivers that were beaten in the morning in their premises, that were tortured, then pointed at that
base commander
Umar, and said, this is the man that asked them to beat us and torture us. The same person came and sat down around the table with the chairman and management of Ikeja Electric. Now, this act of impunity must stop. And the reason why we call out the president, the national security advisor, the chief of air staff, in fact, in the case of the chief of air staff, every single letter that we wrote to the air officer commanding at Ikeja Air Force Base, we copied the chief of staff. He did not reply us. The chief of staff ignored everything regarding the debt of 4.3 billion. And since then, up to this morning, nothing has been done. Umar is still there as the base commander at Ikeja Air Force Base. Air Vice Marshal A.K. Ademulegun is still there at the Ikeja Air Force Base. And I'm happy we have a video showing his men including one person in blue beret who was their commander on that day. I was there at Ikeja, and I just thank God because I was in front of MITV. I was trying to cross the road into Ikeja when I saw trucks, and they were scaling the fence. Even they had the female personnel among them scaling the perimeter fence. That was why I stood outside, who were taking video from afar. Thank God they took away the video. They destroyed all the CCTV cameras, took away all the
controls,
hard drives.
Yes, but thank God, one of those database that they did not see is what gave us access to what you can see on the screen. And you can see how they were beating an innocent staff on the corridor, and you can see all their faces. A few of them even covered their faces.
Otumba,
so I'm really scared.
Some people,
I'm really scared
online,
and they've been threatening me as a person. They've been threatening me, and this is why I'm saying, in a civil society, unless the political leaders begin to do something about these military people, if you think there cannot be military intervention in Nigeria, you are joking. For those of us who have witnessed this kind of beating and all this kind of invasion, we know that these guys don't respect civil authority, and that's why I kept on thinking the president is supposed to be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And when you ignore this, one day, we don't know what will happen.
So this is scary. This is very scary. So, but what is the state of the health of the officers, of your officials that were picked up, right? And that were taken?
10 of our staff were hospitalized. The one at the Ikeja. The guys at Badagry, they are still hospitalized up to now. And the sad thing is that once this thing happened, the military people don't do anything. In the case of Air Force Base, they came, we are sorry. And that's it. For us, that is too little, too late. That is not even what should be the case. You can see their faces on camera.
These officers should be court-martialed. The
military
has a system.
Publicly.
The military has a system. No, the court-martial is totally... The court-martial is a private military matter. But it's a court of concurrent decision with a high court. So if we say you should file a civil suit now, that's the right appropriate body. Yes. But if have you written briefing the chief of army staff of this, and so that as expected, or have you written to the president?
We have sent a petition to the chief of army staff. In the case of the Air Force Base, we've done all of that. Even the National Security Advisor is aware, because in fairness to him, he intervened in the case of the Air Force Base. I mean, even the Minister of Power came out to condemn what happened. But what we are saying is there must be consequences. Yes. Air Vice Marshal A.K. Ademulegun is still in charge. Air Commander Umar is still the best commander. We cannot continue to have this kind of scenario. And that is why, because they did it and nothing happened, the army officers at Topo in Badagry felt that they can do anything. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Now, it is not the fault of Eko Disco that there was no light. It is because of the upgrade being done by transmission company of Nigeria. Should we be afraid to carry out or carry on with our legitimate business? Should we be scared every time we ask our staff to go and do their work? That's the problem.
These videos are
the breakdown of this is a lot of that. So are you going to sue for damages? Because this, can you imagine?
They are only 4 billion. They've not paid 4 billion. You don't want to sue for damages.
Yeah, they will add all of them now, because you can't just get away with this.
Look, the solution is, unless our political leaders do not have the political will to sort out things in this country, the solution on this one is very simple.
Yes.
Those who have done this are people that can be identified. We know who they are. We know who sent them.
Yes.
So there is hierarchy in the military. It is very easy to trace. This is not about unknown soldiers that invaded Fela Anikulapo's residence in 1978. In fact, this is not about the mad dogs that beat up one of Chifenke Abila's sons in 1992, when the then chief of air staff said, "Oh, sorry, they are mad dogs." We thought we have done away with the area of mad dogs. I think we should let this country work. Our own is, look, if injury to one is injury to all, if something happens and everybody think it doesn't matter, one day they will come to your doorstep.
We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we would talk about the fact that there were some social media comments that were supporting the army for what they did. Some were saying it was justifiable because of the fact that there was power cut out. or lack of power and accessibility, and they felt they were happy to see this happen. What's the psyche? How do we prevent this from happening in future? How do we separate our grievances from destroying properties? We'll discuss more about all of this when we come back from the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
By 280 or 320. I suppose don't be one better.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Yeah, that's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat.
Cricket. She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying.
So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
It's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You see us. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Today we'll go here.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So you could join the conversation by calling us on 090-241-63440 or you could tweet to us #YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We're also streaming live on YouTube and the ladies will be able to take your comments from those platforms as well. Mariam has a question.
Yeah, so for me, while you were talking and since I heard this story, my mouth has just been open because I cannot believe in 2025 that this will happen. That's one, that it happened. And secondly, silence. I'm wondering, are you sure they haven't tried to reach out? I'm shocked, really, that there is no news going on and on about
the consequences.
The consequences of what has just happened. This is, as you said, you have every right to sound the way that you sounded. This is something that we should all be afraid of. That a group of military personnel can storm an institution, blatantly, we can see their faces and get away with it. Harassing people, assaulting lives and get away with it. What's the difference between this and insurgents going into schools and destroying schools? This is scary. And that it has not taken up the sort of steam we expect from the federal level, state level. I'm shocked that we're so quiet. And Nigerians, there are some things we cannot be quiet about, even as individuals. Because yes, it did not happen at your workplace today. It has happened to us before. If it did not happen at your workplace today, one day it will happen at your workplace or a friend's workplace or a family's workplace. This should not be accepted in any form. And I hope that the government is watching this and listening to this and they're doing something, because it means that Nigerians are not safe. We're not safe to do our jobs, is what we're saying. You get up one morning, you go to work, and anyone can storm your workplace and assault you and harass you and get away with it, and everybody be quiet. I really don't have any questions other than what is government doing about this? If they're not doing anything, then really.
What would you like the government?
Let me add.
You
already called the government.
He's called on the president. Is it a reposting of the Eko model?
No, this is they should even investigate and look into this.
Exactly. Is it possible for them to carry out an action like this?
So someone was asking who will court martial. So who will court martial is that since the NSA is aware, NSA mandates whoever heads the military to take note of this. Once this is done, you send to the appropriate court martial, and they set up a court martial
immediately.
But
they invite all the heads.
Could the Air Force guys and the military men, could they have gone to fight without the backing or without the go-ahead of their
they most likely did with their immediate authority, immediate head. But we are the superior head that we are now calling on. I wanted to ask Otumba just for balance, because just as Tokwe said during the break, people were online cheering on.
But before you talk about that, let me mention a positive thing that happened at Ikeja, because I was there on that day. They will have spent maybe the whole day beating on and destroying our properties. But for one patriotic Nigerian army officer, I don't want to mention his name because I've been told authoritatively that the people of the air base are very unhappy with him. This brigadier general is from Ikeja cantonment. When the soldiers of fortune, as I call them, these Air Force personnel came and started beating us, they blocked the road, the Obafemi Awolowo way. They blocked the road to the House of Assembly. We even thought it was the House of Assembly something.
In a civilian road.
They did that morning, 7:35
right beside the governor.
When they did that, a very patriotic police officer, a lady, the DPO of Alausa, when she saw that no vehicle was moving, she came out. She then saw them, she came. They attacked her. You can trace out.
Look at that.
The female, this lady. It was this lady that now called some people in Ikeja cantonment, and this Yoruba Brigadier General Omoluabi came, and he was the one that made them to leave our premises. When they saw him, he came with some of his own troop, and then that was when they left. That is an army officer and a gentleman. That's a patriotic army officer. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, such a brigadier general, people like that should be given award and should be praised or promoted. You won't hear about them. You will hear about people like Air Vice Marshal A.K. Ademulegun, who will still remain at his duty.
That one is not.
The Yoruba man.
The one that saved us,
not tribal.
The one that saved us is a Yoruba man. The one that touched us is also a Yoruba man. The one that it's not about tribe.
Thank you. I wanted you to.
Uma is a Fulani man from the. It's nothing to do with tribe. It's to do with the personality and the fact that the Nigerian military personnel, some of them, not all of them, do not believe in this civilian regime. They don't think that they can
I wanted to ask
civil authority.
Okay.
You know, for balance, you know, some people were rejoicing at this. The services of the discourse cross board, their response team, their response system is what might have brought about this. Yes. They might be owing 43 billion and you have been demanding the payment. How has the services been towards the barracks as a result of that debt?
Thank you very much. You're a lawyer, Nima. And in fact, when non-lawyers, people that are not lawyers like us, when they talk, the difference between us and them is for us to set aside our emotion, just like when we stand before my Lord in a court, and look at things straight from what is right, what is wrong, what is justifiable, and what is not justifiable. For the military, we love them, we respect them, we understand their role in the society. The chairman of Ikeja Electric, Dr. Kola Adesina, has always been telling us to show restraint. They believe so much in peace. Chairman of Eko Disco, Mr. Zuriel Odual. In fact, when this incident happened, they were of the opinion, let's reach out to the military or to their superior officers. We've been serving the military very well. They're not the ones that have not been paying their bills. Remember, the latest one by Nigerian Army had nothing to do with bill payment. All military
just
people are owing debt.
Out.
It's nothing to do with that. They just said there's no light in the barrack and they started beating our staff. That cannot be justified. And for the people, those people, the remnants of NSAS going online to say it served them right. I read all about what they were saying, particularly on Instagram. It is very sad that in Nigeria we just say things without thinking deeply about the implication of what we are saying. Anybody who does not like people in this government or like this government and they want the military to come, we all pay for it. That's one side.
Okay.
On the other side, talking about services, I've said this on many occasions. I've been here at least up to 10 times in the last 10 years. We are not where we are supposed to be. I cannot come here and say we are serving you well. I cannot say we are efficient enough. But you also remember that a country of over 200 million people should not be producing electricity that is less than 6,000 megawatts, and you expect it to go around. And we are not the producers, we are not the transporters, but even the producers, transporters, and us, we are one single family living in the same house but different rooms, because if you cannot pay the gas suppliers who collect dollar anyway, you cannot generate electricity. If you cannot generate, you cannot transmit. If you cannot transmit, you cannot distribute. And when you eventually distribute, if people are not paying, how can you reinvest? How can you have money? How can you recover your investment? People, Nigeria should please pity us and look at things in a way that will be balanced. People going on like to say it serve them right. They are not only saying things that are not patriotic, they are just being unfair to everybody, and at the end of the day, we shall all live up and face the consequences.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. When we return, because we cannot assume people understand the impact of what this is having on general businesses, but that video clip can affect you from getting investors. It can affect me from getting international investors into the country, because an investor will say, what if I build my facility and I annoy a military officer? They will come and ransack. So how do we get investors? So we'll talk more about the impact on our economy generally and why it is right for the president to speak concerning this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Let's get talking.
And don't been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay tuned. TVC Entertainment for pure entertainment.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 20 was 320. I suppose don't be one better.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's
I
all we
like
can
Nigeria,
take.
but I choose to
Eje
stay.
can close the show, you for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So during the break we were all discussing amongst ourselves, oh no, the people that are Nigerians are angry with the discos, Nigerians are angry because there's no power. How can they cut off Ibadan, a university teaching hospital where you have life and death situations? Where do we draw the line as a business to understand that there are some, maybe, how do you calm the losses? How do you pay up your investors? How do you protect your interests? How do you remain in markets and yet serve in a country like Nigeria, where the expectation is that power is for the people, is free? Why can you not give us power? Please, these are the things that are, I think our audience need to understand how to balance it out, because many people are genuinely angry that the Disco, the Ibadan distribution company also disconnected UCH. And they are feeling like there's justification for what happened to them. And while we can sit down on this show and say there is no justification, everybody unitedly saying for that, what we saw in that video, how can we find that balance?
Okay. The first thing we require our people to understand is for them to understand the structure of our business. We, the discos, we are distributors. We are distributing somebody else's product, of which the person pays 20% of whatever we collect. So every time we take this product to town and the customers are not paying, the owner of the product keep shouting on us, threatening us. I won't give you another one next week if you have not paid for the one for last week. So as distributors are in a very heavily regulated industry, and you will have had all the time, but remittance, they are not remitting, they are not collecting enough. Collecting that you hear, these collection losses is about our ability to collect money from customers. And all organizations, including the military, and I will say for a fact that this government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, something that I know is that he believes so much in payment of bills, just like Mr. Babatunde Fashola did when he was power minister. He insisted that the ministry department agencies, MDA, including the military, should be paying their, I made effort to pay some of the debt. So in 2023, the Ikeja Air Force Base, their total bill was it was not in contention. They agreed, they accepted, they know. Part of 1.4 billion, they paid 1.2 billion, which is commendable. 2023, they paid that much because the federal government sent money to them. And they have been sending money to them till today. So they pay 1.2 out of 1.4, leaving a balance of 191 million. That was in 2023. Last year, 2024, their bill went up by another about 100 million. So their total billing was 1.5 billion. Guess what? Despite the fact that they collected money, despite the fact that you check the allocation, you will see that money went to this military through the Federal Ministry of Defense. Out of 1.5 billion, they only paid 623 million. That was the beginning of our problem with them, and we started writing them. In June last year, they beat off our staff that we sent to Ikeja Air Force Base. We didn't come here. We didn't tell anybody. We've been beaten many times.
So what
is a history of violence?
Beaten. In Abeokuta, there's a garrison command. You can call it Alamala. They beat us there in 2016. They beat us there in 2018. We've been beaten. In Kaduna, we were beaten. In Jos, we were beaten.
No. Okay, so the history of beating is not
so perpetual.
Yes. Sadly, we don't even have time. We have two other guests coming on this show today.
Yes, but so I just want to chip in something. That there's no justification for beating or putting anybody's life at risk because they're working with you. But I want to understand, because there's just too much. It's so sad that when something like this happens, normally Nigerians and everybody will fight for the people. But it's so bad that there's so much anger against you guys.
The service
so do you think that maybe the way you guys render a service in terms of customer service relationships need to change and adjust so that regardless of anything, even though the people are owing or that has to do with meet, maybe if your customer relationship is better, regardless of anything, you can also garner some support when things like this happen.
Okay, we are not 100% perfect yet. We are not where we are supposed to be. But I can say that we have improved a lot in the last 10 years. Just like I mentioned the issue of the upgrade going on in Badagry, we inform our customers, we send messages, even in the case of Ikeja, and so many customers came and said, what's the TCN upgrade? Because they got text messages. We have improved our communication, but we still need to do more because, to be honest, our staff, even though we spend a lot of money on staff training, I'm still very concerned that some of our staff don't treat customer well enough. But we also want customer to understand the moment the food you have in the house, you have 11 people in the house, and you have food that is only enough for 4 people, there's no way you can satisfy the 11 people because what you have is not enough. The problem with electricity in Nigeria has to do with the fact that the quantum of what we are able to produce as a country is just too low for the populace. And we are the one that I've said it before. There's a value chain.
The closest to us.
So we are the one that you abuse, and they say we are not doing it well enough. Can I produce electricity in Ikeja or Eko? I cannot. Can I transmit it? And thank God, please let us encourage states and local government to begin to generate, and that's the essence of the new Electricity Act of 2023 as amended.
For me, the way I would like
that's the way to go, and I hope Nigerians can pay for it.
For us, that history of violence, you see how he mentioned one person here, one incident there, and now it's a whole collection of military going against the institution. We need to be careful. That's the message that we need to send out. This has to stop, and it has to stop now. There has to be repercussions and consequences for what happened, so that we will not have a repeat of this or widespread repeat of this in the future.
Once again, we would like to join them to call on the president to create actually chart a decisive action course for this particular incident, the 2 incidents that happened in this month of March, because the president is the one that is going to the France, is going to the UN, is going to from country to country to get investors, and this video doesn't look good, especially if we don't have a strong reaction. All business owners are worried as it is. While I empathize with Nigerian citizens who complain of bad services from discos transmitting and Gencos, all of them together, I think this is not the right way to go about it. So that's just what we want to say as we conclude on this. Thank you, Otuba, for shedding light on the challenges that your people are facing. It is definitely a risky job to work with any disco in this country right now. But we'll take a break when we return. It's still a month-long celebration. We're talking about women all through the month of... And funny enough, the Eko Disco CEO is a woman, Eko Disco a woman, and they are putting in their very best. So trust me, we will do our best to support as much as possible. Stay with us, we'll be right back. I don't understand the waving.
I don't understand. She raised her hand, I raised my own.
She raised the hand.
#1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for #1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, but you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym to get fat.
Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
Yeah, pole dancer does not
you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the person you see us? What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Today we'll go here.
Hey!
Let's catch up.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay tuned. Entertainment for pure entertainment.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
think you can outplay me in this game?
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Still International Women's Month with the theme Accelerate Action. This morning we continue our series of interviews with exemplary women from our country. In the studio with us we have a Nobel Prize winner, nominee, she's going to win soon, a global education advocate and a diplomat who has made significant strides in leadership, gender equality, and international peace mediation. Joining us in the studio is Zuriel Oduwale. Oh wow, congratulations on your Nobel Prize nomination.
Thank you so
much. For us,
much.
it's a win already. And we have been talking about we'll be celebrating the International Women's, not Day, the entire month, and we've been bringing phenomenal women on the show to just discuss and let their story inspire others. So really, it's about your story, because someone is watching right now and is wondering, how can a young lady like this have already had such impact? And then you met with the president, I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
This current president?
Yeah. No, you haven't met?
No.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to that. But what was the journey to becoming the Nobel Prize nominee? How did you get that Nobel Peace Prize nomination?
Couldn't even tell you. My journey started off completely differently. I started with filmmaking. That's what people always laugh at. I do education advocacy now. I started filmmaking when I was 9 years old. I was doing a school competition back home in the US, and they were asking kids from across the country to create an essay, do a skit or a documentary on a topic in history. And so I was 9 years old. I thought this would be fun to enter, use my spare time doing this. And so I entered the competition. As a 9-year-old, you can imagine, it's like 40-page essay. I was like, let's put that option to the side over there. To do a skit or a play, I was one person. So other students were doing things in groups. By myself, I was like, I don't want to do like a one-woman show type thing. And so I thought, okay, documentary. My family had this like little, very tiny family camera in our house that we'd use to create like home videos and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what? Documentary, that's what I'm gonna do. So I entered the competition, and the topic for the year I entered was revolutions in history. And I like to, when I can, try and be different from everybody else. And a lot of my classmates focused on the usual revolutions. We focused on the American Revolution,
the Spanish,
the
French.
European, all kinds of revolutions. But I wanted to be very different. And so I got on my computer, did some research, and I found out that the Ghana Revolution was actually one of the most successful held here on the African continent. So that kind of became my topic. And so I went to Ghana. I had to go to Ghana to film some scenes for the documentary. I know, I had to go to Ghana to film scenes for this documentary. And when I was there, I noticed for the first time, I actually got to see kids who were out of school. Because I would be driving around filming, and it would be like 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, regular school hours, and I would see kids out on the streets chasing after cars, trying to sell things. And you can imagine, as a 9-year-old girl, I went to school every day back home in the US, and so I looked at it and I was like, how comes these kids who are my age, a bit older, how comes they're not in school? And it's one thing when you open up a newspaper or a magazine and you read about this issue of out-of-school kids, because everyone hears about it, 200 million out-of-school kids, etc. But to actually see it, I think as a child, to see someone else who looks like me, not in school, I was like, well, what can be done about this? So I did the documentary, went back home, did the competition, but it was that experience that kind of still stuck with me. And so I was brainstorming. I was like, what can I do to try and make a difference? So a year later, at 9, yes, at 9. At 9, you can ask my parents what I was thinking back then. But I did some research, figured out, okay, what can I do? And then a year later, when I was 10 years old, I formally started my education advocacy work. I started a project called Dream Up, Speak Up, Stand Up. And the original purpose was just to go into schools and try and speak to students about the importance of staying in school and getting a good education, because education is incredibly important. And so to date now with that project, just in schools with students, I've spoken to over 51,900 youth. And 23 countries now, actually. I just added my 23rd country, got back from Seychelles a few days ago. And so I've also done it in Botswana, Ethiopia, Kenya, South Africa, and of course, here in Nigeria. And then that is kind of how the advocacy began. And then from there, it's now grown into this my foundation, the Dasusu Foundation. So D-U-S-U-S-U. If you like put the puzzle pieces together, it's basically just an acronym for Dream Up, Speak Up, Stand Up. So yeah, I've continued that project. Now with the foundation, we have that's the platform I now use to do most of my advocacy work. And then along the way, I kind of figured out, okay, I can speak to students to stay in school, but there's also things that can be done at the policy level. And so I started to meet with world leaders since I was 9. I met my first world leader just to kind of begin my education advocacy project to talk about anything, policy initiatives, youth development, education. And so I've met now over 36 presidents and prime ministers. I started here with my work on the African continent. So I've met people like the president of Egypt, president of South Sudan, president of Liberia, president of Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and it's kind of grown. So now I've also done work in the Caribbean region, people like the prime ministers of Jamaica, prime minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and also even the Pacific Island regions. Because education, this idea of keeping kids in school and education, it's not just something on the African continent. It's a global thing.
So that's really nice. Congratulations once again. So for you to be able to do this so far, or to have even at 9, even gone to Ghana for a school project competition, you must have really supportive parents.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and yes, for them to support what you're doing, finance it and stuff, that's super amazing. So how do they feel right now with everything, the impact you're making, for the Nobel Prize nomination? Like, when they even heard about it, like, can you just tell us, how they felt,
Yeah, absolutely. My parents have been, not yet. My parents have been incredibly supportive. You mentioned when I first started off, like, you can imagine being 9 and went up to my parents, Mom, Dad, I have to go to Ghana. And it's like, for what? I was like, school competition, I have to go there to film some stuff. But so my mom, my dad, and I have 3 younger siblings. They've all been incredibly supportive on this journey. I mean, the one thing I'll say that you mentioned, like, the financing of it, for me, like, I'm a student, 0 budget, right? My parents have 4 kids. So no, for real, a lot of it was like trying to find sponsorships and partnerships and doing that kind of work. So it wasn't just like there's no financing of it. But they've been incredibly supportive, and a lot of lessons they taught me and my younger siblings when we were younger, I think is kind of what has helped me to take on that mindset when I was 9 to say, what can I do to help others? Because they taught us, like, if you see something and you think you can make a difference, then you should at least try. You should at least try. And so that's kind of the mindset that we grew up with. And you mentioned the Nobel Peace Prize nomination. How did this is the funny story of how I found out. Forget how my parents, how I found out. So I was at home. My dad was overseas he was doing some work. And whenever any of us travel, we always call in every single night to do check-in, like, hey, how was your day? Oh, good, this and this and this. And so he called like one night, it was like 2 weeks ago now. And he was just like, oh, like, how's everything? We're like, oh, good, school's good, this is good, everything's good. What about you? He was like, oh, yeah, I'm fine, everything's good. And then we get to the end of the call and he's like, okay, so if I were to ask you guys, like, what are some pretty big awards out there? And this was like still like in the Grammy, the Emmy seasons. We were like, oh, there's the Oscars, that's pretty big. The Grammys is pretty big. He's like, yeah, those are big, But if you were to think globally, what's a major global award? And we were like, oh, that's easy, like Nobel. Like I think there's 6 categories I learned or something like that: literature, medicine, chemistry. I was like, oh yeah, Nobel. And then he was like, yeah. So Zuriel, this year you've been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, and literally, no joke, that's how I found out. So my dad actually knew before I did.
Were you excited to find out? How did you feel? Was it fulfilling to find out that you're finally getting this nomination?
You continue still feeling it. He was trying to get us. I think it was shock. It was complete. No, because I woke up that morning, I wasn't thinking, oh, I wasn't thinking any of that. And not to say that I wasn't aiming for that, but it wasn't my focus. You know, that wasn't why I was doing the work that I was doing. So when I heard about it, it was like who? Like why? Like how? Like what exactly happened here? Still we're like who, what, when, where, how, and all those questions. Because, I mean, first of all, I'm incredibly grateful just for the nomination. Just for the nomination itself. I mean, I've been doing this work now for 13 years, since I was 9. And I honestly did not think people were paying close enough attention to even consider this nomination. I mean, I think of all the past recipients. You've got Kofi Annan, you've got President Carter, Nelson Mandela. It's just like
people.
Yes, just the nomination in itself. I'm grateful for. I'm so thankful for. But it's just a reminder to keep going. There's still a lot of work that has to be done.
So true.
So Zuriel, there are many.
We would have to take a break. But when we return from this short break, Mariam is going to go through with a question. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
To work.
Think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jammies.
My 20 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jammies.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show. Give a dollar.
Ladies and gentlemen, at number 1, unavailable by Davido featuring Musiki.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. So recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym, though. You're getting fat.
Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No. Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they're for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You see some spoils.
That woman.
Damn!
Yeah,
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up.
And John been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay tuned. TVC Entertainment for pure entertainment.
Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
We still have with us the Zuriel Oduwale Nobel Prize Peace nomination. Nominee. You know,
like that, yeah.
For me, that's still a big deal. But Maria, shoot.
Yes, so of course, I mean, there are many young girls, you know, looking to you and are inspired by you. And, you know, the way you tell your story, you make it seem like it was, you know, just easy all the way. But I'm sure, first of all, as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, a teenager with all the distractions that come, like, what kept you going in spite of all those developmental changes? What kept you going, even if there were some challenges, you know, concerning the work itself? What was the thing that kept a young child just interested and motivated and consistent?
No, that's all of that. That was a good question. I think from pretty young when I started, I think I developed a passion for advocacy. It's something like, you know that saying where it's, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I'm sure you guys could all agree with that. You love what you do here. No, it's something where I developed a passion for, and along the way, like you said, there's challenges, there's barriers and things like that. Like first, it's faith and prayer, how to get over those. I mean, my family I mentioned was very supportive. My siblings, my parents, like they remind me of like, remember why you started this, you know? And then it's like the success stories. They like encourage you to keep going. I know there was one, so I did, as part of my foundation, we do a basic filmmaking workshop. So because I was completely self-taught, Google, YouTube, all those things, I thought, okay, if others have the same opportunity, then they could also become filmmakers. And so I started a very basic filmmaking workshop when I was 13 years old, started it in Namibia. I've now done it in Rwanda, in Mexico, the US, here in Nigeria, and in the neighboring countries like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire as well. And there was one story, and this was in Ethiopia now. So I was 15 years old, and usually whenever we do film workshops, I have a class of about 20 to 25 students. So like that first class in Namibia, I taught it there to 25 kids, left Namibia, and then 9 months after that first workshop, one of the young women who attended, she went out, she borrowed a camera, she borrowed some money and made her first film. And so that was like, okay, this film workshop works. So I took it to Ethiopia when I was 15 years old, and I partnered with some local organizers on the ground, show up at the venue, okay, they bring the students in, and I start counting. Right? I went to school, I could do math, so I'm like, okay, 20, yes, 25, I'm like 30, 35, like, wait, this is supposed to be for like 20 students. We don't have enough supplies for everybody. And so I asked the organizer, I was like, I thought, 20, 25 students, that we can do all this. And he was like, I was like, who are all the extra students? Because some of them were a bit older. Some looked a bit older. And guess who they were? He looked at me, he said, those extra women who were here in the class, those are the girls' mothers. And yes, I found out that most of them were married off when they were really young, like at 15, at 14. And so when they heard that there was this film instructor who was also 15 years old, they were like, my daughters have to go to that class. because I want them to see, if I couldn't do it when I was younger, I want them to see what's possible. But even more than that, they also wanted the chance to learn from it. And I was like, absolutely, we'll teach whoever. And so it's stories like that. There is another one. So I talked a bit about how they got married when they were young, child marriage. It's a big issue. Not, I mean, on the African continent and other parts as well, but I remember this was back in 2018. And I found out that, according to UNESCO reported that Mozambique had one of the highest rates of child marriage on the African continent. And we know usually when it's child marriage, it's girl marriage. Girls who are 14, 13, 12, taken out of school and married off, and that's it. So I found out about this, clearly a major barrier to girls being able to go to school and get that education. And so I went to Mozambique to sit down with the President Felipe Nyusi. We sat down and I talked to him about the work that I did, peace mediation, doing film workshops, my just general development work with other presidents and prime ministers and sometimes first ladies. And he was like, I've heard of your work, I'm aware of what you did. I said, okay, good. Now, don't you want all the girls in Mozambique to do even better things than what I'm doing? So in each of the places that I go to, I sit there as an example of what an educated girl can do. What is so possible. Amazing. And so
honestly, we've really
that's why you're a nominee.
Completely yes. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for shining your light. Thank you for letting younger people know what is possible, and of course we're going to bring you back. Definitely, because today we just seem to like. I hope so. I feel like we have more time with you.
I spent all day here with you guys if I could.
Yeah, we would definitely. Next time when you're in the country, we'll bring you in because we would love to milk a lot more information from you and get more inspiration for those watching. But cheers for all that you've done.
Thank you so much.
We celebrate you. We celebrate your parents. We celebrate your siblings, all your support system. And we will continue to see you at the top.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me.
That's all we can take on this part of the show. We'll take a break. When we return, we're still celebrating women and we'll bring in another guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
Go.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Check it out.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer,
you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No. Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girl.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Still Women's Month, and joining us on this segment is a visionary leader in social impact and sustainability. She's committed to advancing sustainable development goals across Africa. She's also the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Sterling One Foundation. Welcome with me to the studio, my big sis, Olakweju Ibekwe. Happy International Women's Month.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on the show.
So, the first question, accelerated action. What do you think we need to do differently to accelerate action for women in this season?
Okay, at the Sterling One Foundation, we mainstream gender equality in our programming. And with our recent partnership with Zuriel Odual, her inspiring story, and one thing that has struck me is the need for more men. More men to use their voices to advance women's growth.
Allies.
More men to take on that responsibility.
More he for she's.
More he for she's. We should not just be girl dads at home.
That's powerful. Thank you.
We should be girl dads in the marketplace. We should be girl dads in politics. We should be girl dads wherever we find ourselves.
Every time you see a woman, remember you are born of one. And advocate
Girl
for
dad.
one.
Thank you so much. We should not relegate them. We should not push them down. I want a situation where we will also have your view, and all of them will be men. And we'll be talking about what can we do
to advance women.
To advance women.
Oh wow.
Because that's something that I'm not seeing anywhere today. And then all the men get the benefits of being associated with women.
Exactly.
Right? Yes. I know that it's no longer news that women are not only meant for the kitchen. Right? I think that stereotype has been broken to a large extent. But there's still so much to be done. At this point, I actually want to commend men that are doing fantastic job. A fantastic job. I commend Zuriel's dad. The work done, the sacrifice. Zuriel will not be where she is today if she did not have a father that was speaking intentionally for her. All fathers out there that have daughters should speak intentionally for them.
It's very important.
Very important.
As far as I know, yes, we have passed the stage where the kitchen is the placement for girls. Since I was a young girl, with 4 girls, I'm the 3rd one. But there's still certain silent issues around this where the men do not expect you to be in the kitchen. You can fly high, but
At least come back and
tone it.
No, even if they're taking the kitchen away from you, there are other places that they're waiting for you.
It's supposed to be a woman thing, a feminine thing, to be soft-spoken. So you cannot, if you are not soft-spoken, you're an abnormal female.
Yes.
If you're too, if you're Zuriel in certain families, because you picked the Zuriel example, in certain families,
be going to Malawi, be going to Mozambique, be meeting with the president.
It's not safe, So there's those silent issues that we do not see. It's not obvious, but the girls have to deal with them. How often do you see such issues?
Well, I am grateful for the family I was born in. We were raised to thrive and fly as high as you want to be. What I want to emphasize today at this show is every family should be like that. If your daughter tomorrow says she wants to be the president of Nigeria, you should be the first
say yes
to vote for her and tell her, okay, this is what we have to do to make it happen. This is how you should go about it. To be her guide, to look for mentors that can help her do it. There's an analogy Zuriel always uses, that you cannot use one hand, right? And think you're going to be effective in whatever it is you're doing. If you want to type a good message now, you want to be as fast, as effective, you use your two hands. Let the world start using their two hands. Let us not deprive ourselves of the benefits of using both hands. And that is what happens in those homes where they are waiting for you somewhere. They think they are doing you, they are doing themselves.
Exactly. So I'm really happy that you talked about mentorship, because we know that mentorship plays a critical role in shaping shaping future leaders. So what is your organization doing in terms of creating a pipeline for women in leadership, or for women, a strong pipeline for women in leadership, and to build strong women?
So at this point, I must commend the organization I work for, which is Sterling. The organization even makes sure that while you are in your childbearing age, you are effectively supported. Because most women would have risen